How are we doing, everyone? Sam from United People's TV. As you can see, here with Irah. Just here to have a bit of a chat about the derby at the weekend. It's a pretty good game, wasn't it?
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Crucial win for United.
I mean, yeah, had we not won that game, we'd be, 7 points behind fourth at the moment? But going into the international break...
But mind you, how many times have we needed a crucial win this season, though? It's a bit of an overused phrase, I think.
Yeah, I know. The phrase false dawn is going to come up next as well. And so I think we've got Everton away next.
It's at home.
Or is it at home?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because the Bobby Charlton stand's getting unveiled, isn't it, for that game? But, what did you think of the game?
Yeah, I thought it was really, really good. United played positively, and it was just crucial to get the win more than anything.
I mean, what particularly impressed you about the game, or any performances?
I thought that United's passing was really good, and for me, the key was Rashford versus Dave Michaelis.
Oh, that was like it was like seeing your dad play in a Sunday League game because you haven't got enough players.
Oh, boy.
He literally left him for dead. It was a definite penalty. I mean, when you see Graham Souness...
Oh, yeah, definitely a penalty.
Jamie Carragher, the whole Sky pundit team are all agreeing that's a definite penalty. That's when you know it is.
He didn't get any of the ball. He used, he used a bit of his shoulder and a bit of his body weight as well to kind of add force to the tackle. And you do that in the box, it's just dangerous.
But it's Michael Oliver. We know what he's like. He's a bit of a bottle job. But, I thought everybody came away, if you look at the Liverpool games by contrast, I think it was only David De Gea who could walk away with his head held high, maybe Martial and Rashford as well. Every single player from that game at the Etihad can walk away knowing that they put everything into that game. So someone who really, really impressed me was Jesse Lingard, which kind of didn't surprise me as such. But, he's born in Manchester, born and raised a Red, and he saw how much it meant to him. When Rashford went down under De Michelis, Lingard was the first person in there, like Scrappy Doo. The little smallest man on the pitch was straight in Fernando's face. It was brilliant to see. But I mean, the second half was a bit nervous. I thought we'd changed tactic completely. Obviously, Van Gaal 3 subs, the 2 fullbacks, and a central midfielder. And I thought that was kind of fair enough because Rojo looked pretty crap. Darmian was knackered. So I understood why both of those went off.
I think with Smalling as well. Smalling was on a yellow card as well, so they definitely needed a bit more reinforcement at the back. But Smalling did quite well, actually, considering he got his yellow card so early, to stay composed and not get another one, even though some say that he probably should have been sent off in
it's a massive parallel to when he got sent off by Oliver for 2 yellows at the Etihad a couple of years ago. And he could have done the same thing again because it was such an early yellow card. But
yeah, definitely.
A testament to how he played. I think he got named man of the match as well.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So, I mean, Man City, let's be honest, Aguero was pretty off form. I think Aguero on his day probably would have buried one of those chances that they had. And, United took advantage of that. It was a scrappy, I wouldn't say scrappy 1-0, but it was a very nervous 1-0. Those last 25 minutes, squeaky bum time.
Yeah, definitely. I think City looked quite dangerous on the counter-attack, but Aguero, which just wasn't at his best. And usually, Aguero is deadly, and some of the situations the chance he had yesterday, normally you'd expect him to score.
And I think all over the park, I was surprised with kind of how poor City were. One thing that really helped us was Yaya Toure and Fernando were both really aggressive, and they both ran up the pitch so much that there was so much space in behind their midfield that allowed us to play with that. Because normally United play pretty stagnant football. But I thought we moved up the pitch pretty quickly against City, in the first half anyway. Second half was different altogether. And when you got the pace of Rashford, Martial and Lingard up there, it makes a big difference. And you saw it in how we attacked yesterday. But it makes you, why couldn't we do that against Liverpool?
Yeah, well, it almost seems as if City have just down tools, and it weren't obviously just since about when they announced that Pep was coming in, even before that, they were really hit and miss, and as I said, Aguero, he wasn't really at his best, and same with Silva and Toure. Really, they didn't really. Those are the 3 key men for City, and if you thought there was one game where they were going to turn it on, it would have been yesterday, but they just look washed.
what I find incredible as well is how reliant Man City are on Vincent Kompany being in that team for them to be a good team. You know, you normally, when you miss your captain, but you cope. They can't seem to play football without Kompany in their team, which worked out for us quite nicely.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like companies like starting to like rack up like regular injuries now. So maybe it's time for like City to reassess their whole defensive problems, because they've got Dave Michaelis, and I'm quite surprised that he was still at City this season, like after like last season's performances.
Yeah,
and
they've got Artem Indy as well, and he hasn't really been that great either.
Same with Mangala. I mean, that was a pretty ridiculous signing, I suppose, for in terms of the quality he's added to the team. But enough about City's problems.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our own problems and moving forwards. Is this another false dawn? I mean, we're now 1 point off fourth place going into, was it last 8 games of the season? Top 4's up for grabs, man.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I'm still pretty confident that we'll get top 4. But,
at the expense of who?
I don't know. I think it is still possible for Arsenal and City to drop out the top 4.
You think both? No, so neither of them have got a guaranteed top 4 spot yet.
No, I wouldn't say so. No.
I mean, it is impossible to predict the Premier League this season.
Yeah, it has been a crazy season, hasn't it?
There's no point trying to predict it. This is the first weekend I actually remember that Arsenal, Spurs, and United have all won in the same weekend. It's always been one team getting a surprise result. But 8 games left. I think Leicester and Spurs, the top 2. I'm not sure who's going to win the league there, but that's kind of irrelevant for us. But we've got West Ham in the FA Cup replay. I don't know what's going to happen there, but that's going to be a hard game, let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've got a chase for the top 4. And this international break is well timed for United because you saw how knackered our players were. You had Darmian pulling up with cramp. Rojo went off because he wasn't fit. Rashford pulled up with cramp. They're all knackered. We've played so many games. I think game every 4 days for 2-3 weeks?
Yeah,
if not longer. So the break should help. No, it won't help everyone. Like, for example, Schneiderlin, who was boss against City. And I'm like, I don't know how Fellaini gets anywhere near that team ahead of him. But the worrying thing for me is what Van Gaal said after the game was, I'm very happy for Schneiderlin and how he played, but Fellaini, I had to rotate because Fellaini couldn't start a fourth game in a row. Which, to me, that makes it sound like if Fellaini's
going to start against Everton.
Yeah, if Fellaini was fit, he'd be in that fucking team. But Fellaini's absence in that team allowed United to play. With him and Carrick in midfield, we can't play through midfield. We have to basically play to the fullbacks or play it long over the top. With Schneider in the team, we actually played football from the back to the front.
Yeah, definitely.
And it seems so logical to say it, but Van Gaal sees it differently. I'm not really sure how he sees it differently because it's so fucking obvious that Schneiderlin needs to start every game in midfield. And I don't know whether it's us just because we have an agenda against Fellaini, but I mean, what do you take on this?
I don't know. It really is like Van Gaal. I mean, I can't see that much value in Fellaini being in the team, apart from the fact that he is, better as a defensive midfielder more so than going forward. Because every time he goes forward, you just, he's just like, his arms are in the air and.
You think he's a better defensive mid than he is in attack?
Yeah, definitely.
Really? Because I think he's shit as a defensive mid. I think if you're going to play,
maybe it's so bad like going forward that like it makes it like going back better.
I just think that if you're going to use Fellaini, use him in the final third for the last 20-25 minutes when you need to change the game and change how you're playing. That makes sense. Playing him as a central midfielder and starting him when he can't play football doesn't make any sense. But what's your overriding feeling from that derby yesterday? Going forward from here, are we good enough for this top 4?
Yeah, definitely. And, as I said, a crucial win, 3 points. You're just got to take it one game at a time.
Yeah, I think that's it spot on. I think United really can't look further ahead than the game we've got coming up now because we don't know who's going to be boss in the summer. We don't know who's going to be here in the summer. I think as much transition as we had in the last few years, there's going to be another big couple of years of transition again with another new manager coming in. I hope we don't get stuck in this repetitive transition cycle and never settle down again. But we all know that Van Gaal's got to go. beating City doesn't change that. Losing to Liverpool doesn't change that. Everyone's well aware of the issue we've got at the club. But it was good to see the players actually playing for the shirt. But it does piss me off that he couldn't do that against Liverpool, because there was no fight against Liverpool at all.
Especially like what happened at Southampton as well. This makes it even worse, doesn't it?
Oh, God. Yeah, well, again, that shows how tiring it is at the moment, all these games coming on. Second half, Liverpool literally just slipped. But anyway, as I said, it's a good result yesterday. Cheers coming and having a chat, Irah. 3 points in the bag. Always nice to beat your rivals. But moving forward from here, it doesn't change anything in the whole context of the season. But United have a genuine opportunity somehow to finish in the top 4 this season. I don't know how we're still in that position, but we're there. By grace and by God and by hook or by crook, we're there. So let's see what happens at Everton at home, because if we lose that game, 2 steps backwards again, and we've been there before, So fingers crossed. But anyway, it's going to be an international break. We'll see how the Reds get on international duty. Thanks for coming on, Irah. Drop a like on the video as always. Subscribe to United People's TV if you're new, and me and Irah will see you soon. Take it easy.